Hello, my friends. My name is Cheryl Spangler. Welcome to Life in Northern Virginia and the Good Side of Real Estate on YouTube. Today, we're talking about the 7 myths about luxury home auctions. I am one of the few real estate professionals that does both ends of the spectrum in real estate. That means high-end luxury homes, and I help people avoid foreclosure. And you would be surprised, sometimes they are the same person. And they don't want you to know that because I'm also very discreet. And we just move along, right? Very easy to talk to and non-judgmental, okay? Number 7 myth about luxury home auctions is that all auction companies are the same. This is not true. This is a myth. They are not the same. First thing I want you to do is go to Google and say luxury home auction companies that do luxury real estate. And when you're searching and you get the names of a couple, then type in the name of the company, space lawsuits, or the name of the company, space litigation, or the name of the company, space scam. By the way, hint, do this when you're looking up anything or anyone on Google, okay? Anything or anyone, because this will give you everything you need to know. It's like, I'm always amazed. People are like, I'm going to hire this company to do whatever. And the first thing I do is I go, boom, go to the computer, type the name lawsuit, type the name litigation, type the name scam, come up with all this stuff, email it to the people, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know. It's like, use your resources. Okay. So number 7 myth, busted. All auction companies are really not the same. And in order for you to know that, you need to do a little bit of research. But one that I would recommend, Supreme Auctions. So go Google and check out Supreme Auctions. They do luxury real estate auctions that it accelerates the time to get it sold. You think putting a deadline in MLS is something that gets it sold? No. Having a luxury auction, having up to 5 weeks of marketing going out, a massive network, a frenzy of people, massive competition, boom, it's sold. Number 6 myth about luxury home auctions. If I buy a home at auction, I must buy it sight unseen without inspections. That is actually a myth for luxury home auctions. Now, that is the case when you're buying homes that are foreclosed on at auction. But when you're buying luxury home auctions, you actually get a lot of time and all the time you need before the auction, okay? This is the key. Before the auction day, you have the ability to come in and do home inspection, really any inspection that you want. But on the day of auction, you are required to put down 10% as a good faith deposit on luxury auctions. Whereas in foreclosure auctions, you only have to put down $10,000. So let me say that again. Luxury auctions, 10% good faith down payment, which means cashier's check at auction day. On luxury homes, 10%. On foreclosed auctions, $10,000. Which means this is a deposit. It just sits, and if you win, that deposit basically gets handed over to the auctioneer, and you have 30 days to close. It's the same on both spectrums of real estate. You have 30 days to close. Whatever you bring to the auction is the deposit. The difference is the amount. So you have 30 days to close. There are no contingencies in the contract that's written, but you have time prior to the auction date to inspect on luxury auctions. But on foreclosures, obviously, you do not get to go into the home and do any inspections. I hope you're liking the perspective here because there's some nuances. Number 5 myth, the 5th myth about luxury home auctions is that sellers bidding on the property using mobile apps. And you know what I'm talking about. You're saying, okay, oh my God, some people are going to be able to bid via the internet on mobile apps. The seller's going to be secretly behind the scenes bidding so that you'll bid higher. That is a myth. It is false because On both spectrums, luxury and foreclosure auctions, that is a federal offense. You cannot, it's called bid fixing. You can't do that. Internet bidding actually doesn't work well on luxury properties. It works better when you're there, because when you're there, you're physically, emotionally invested. You're literally, the minute you walk through the property, you have this feeling of loss and you want to win. When you're doing foreclosure auctions, it's literally almost mostly about money, and they're just like plugging numbers in online. And still, there are no absolutely cannot do bid fixing. So that is a myth. The number 4 myth about luxury home auctions is auction properties sell at a big discount. Yes, when you're doing foreclosure auctions, they may say they sell at a discount. And the reason is because some auctions, when you're doing foreclosure auctions, they're done at the county courthouse steps. And so it's like whoever shows up, basically, at some point, if you're the only one that shows up, then you get whatever you bid. Typically, though, just to go on a side note, if you're doing a foreclosure auction that is not luxury, and it's at the county courthouse steps, you typically have to bid at or just above whatever the loan amount that the people owe. But when you're talking about luxury auctions, not in luxury, properties sell above asking price, and it's the reason I said before. They're there, they're invested. It's an emotional decision. They're walking through, they love it. And they have this feeling of loss the minute they walk through the property, because if you love it, if you don't love it, you leave. If you love it, you want it, and you don't want to lose it. And so you'll do whatever, and you'll pay more. Even the one I told you about where I went to with my son, it was actually a foreclosure auction. It was in person, and I was shocked because it went for $30,000 above what we were willing to pay for it. And I was like, there's no way. It was not worth that. But still, because it was in person, they did a lot of marketing. They got the money. Number 3, third myth about luxury home auctions. Seller has to sell their property regardless of the auction price. That is a myth. That is incorrect. Sellers actually have the right to cancel up until the auctioneer starts with the microphone. And I could flip to the other side and say, auctions that go to foreclosure, they have the right, if you're the homeowner and you're behind on your payments, you have the right to go to the county courthouse or the auction itself and say, I got the money. I got the money to pay up my back due amount. I have the money to pay up my back due mortgage. Same with a luxury auction. I'm not trying to put them in the same category. I'm trying to just give you the differences because I have the perspective. On a luxury auction, you have the ability to say, you know what? I don't want to do this up until the moment the auctioneer starts the auction. Okay, myth number 2 about luxury home auctions. Auctions do not work in my market because my market is very, very different. That is a myth. Auctions work in every market. And the reason is because when an auctioneer who is, let's say, not in your state is hired because they're the best, they actually consult with a local auctioneer and a local listing agent to make sure that pricing is right, networks have been reached out to, databases have been accessed in order to market to the proper people, title companies, like massive databases. So that is not true. If you're a person that says, maybe you're a seller that says that you don't want to pay for marketing because you're cheap. It would benefit you to spend 5 weeks, minimal amount of money, gathering hundreds of people to sell over asking price on a $3 to $5 million property. Myth number 1. Myth number 1, you already know, it's already in the back of your head. Myth number 1 about luxury home auctions. Auctions are for distressed properties only. False. That is incorrect. The number 1 reason why luxury properties, people who own very large, from $3 to $30 million properties do auctions, is because it accelerates the sales time to closing. It accelerates the sales process. It brings everyone that is interested, it brings awareness, brings them physically to the property, gets bidding going, and closes the deal, and 99% of the time over asking price. It accelerates the time to sell versus putting something in the MLS that says, things due by this date. Typically, anyway, luxury properties, they don't have like due by dates. They don't have actual dates where offers are due by, because in most cases in luxury properties, when someone even wants to show the home, they have to show some kind of proof of finance, a letter from the bank, a letter from their financial advisor, a letter from some institution proving who they are and that they have the funds before they can even walk in the property. So auctions are for distressed properties only. That is false. That is the number one myth. They are for both people who, yes, of course, for foreclosures, but for luxury real estate, it is a growing way to sell your home very fast and get over asking price. Okay, I'll talk to you guys on the next podcast.